No, Stetson Bennett did not win the Heisman Trophy, but he was the first Heisman finalist that Georgia's had since 1992 when Garrison Hearst was. So exactly 30 years. There was exactly a 30-year gap between the last two Heisman finalists for the Georgia Bulldogs. And, his story just continues to get better and better. It's impressive. I mean, it's a story that became really well known last year as he becomes a national championship winning quarterback as a starter. But it's I'm taking these pauses just because I'm thinking about it, and it's impressive what he's done. I think he is the American dream, right? Isn't Kirby said something like that the other day or recently? And that's not crazy to say. He is like, he embodies something that a lot of people wish they had. And like, think about it this way: I'm closer to Stetson than I am to Caleb Williams, right? As far as like talent goes and like the way that their lives have been. Maybe Stetson's this walk-on quarterback. I'm not a student athlete, but Caleb Williams was a bona fide 5-star. Stetson, was a walk-on. I'm closer to Stetson in that way, right? So I think it's like one of those things where people, like, he embodies something, and he embodies the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's what I really want to talk about, is how he, like, I don't think, I'm sure Stetson really wanted to win, right? I'm sure he wanted to win the Heisman Trophy. It's probably something he dreamed about, but his real dream was to play football for the Georgia Bulldogs, and he's done that dream really well. Better than potentially any other Georgia quarterback ever. We're getting into that argument now. Ryan Kelee from Dog Post here, talking about Stetson and what this journey really has meant. And it's not over. He's got one or two more games left to really just tack on and then get out of Athens. Make sure you're checking out the Kelee Ringo-Signed DAWGSTRUCTION, just DAWGSTRUCTION in general. Other, the links are down below for everything that he signed. There's prints that are really cool. These are all really great Christmas presents. I would order now, so you make sure you get those in. Just my 2 cents. So something that I noticed, and I hope that I'm not mistaken when I say this, but there was like a photo shoot for the Heisman finalists, right? Where they're all next to the trophy on Friday, and there, is the picture of all of them in their suits, and there's the pictures of them individually. Well, Stetson's the only one wearing something resembling his team. He wore his Letterman jacket, he wore a Georgia football sweatshirt, and he wore a Georgia G logo, the Super G, on his on the suit, lapel pin, I think is what it's called. So he, like, it's impressive to me because I just think he cares about Georgia more than he cares about that trophy. I really think that. I'm not in Stetson's head. I'm not Stetson's friend. I kind of know Stetson a little bit, but we're not friends. But I feel confident in saying these things just because I've been close to the situation for the last couple of years, and I'm here. I hear things. I see things. That's part of this job is knowing things, and Stetson cares more about and most quarterbacks are going to feel this way, but Stetson cares about Georgia, and he cares about bringing national championships to the Georgia Bulldogs. The Heisman Trophy, at the end of the day, does not matter that much to this Georgia program, in my opinion. I think it's one of the most spectacular individual awards in sport. It is a very sought-after award. It's a very impressive award. The fact that he was a finalist is impressive after everything. I had a feeling he was going to take this jump, and I told a couple people before the season, maybe you should lay some money down. Look at those odds for Stetson Heisman. That wouldn't be a crazy thing to do. And honestly, when I was saying that, I don't know if I fully believed it. And it happened. He got there. Obviously, he comes in 4th place behind Stroud, Duggan, and obviously the winner, Caleb Williams. But he is Georgia, right? This is the Georgia dream, the American dream. He fought the adversity. He fought the fight. He comes to Georgia, has to go to JUCO. They bring him back. He is the backup to Jake Fromm. The year that Jake Fromm had a really bad year in 19 and 20. All of a sudden, they have a bunch of quarterbacks, but don't have any healthy quarterbacks or quarterbacks that really play. Stetson's in there a lot. Doesn't really play well. He wasn't god-awful, but he wasn't really that good in 2020. And it gets better in 2021, and they win the whole thing. And then in 2022, it looks like they might do it again, and he's just been balling out. Yeah, he's had some bad games. He totally has had some bad games, and he's had some really stupid plays. So have a lot of quarterbacks. I feel like I recognize when Stetson's not playing well. And I feel like, I really hope you can't hear my roommate singing. And I think, I think I don't want to be a cheerleader on here. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you my opinions. I'm here to give you what is fact. I'm here to give you what's my opinion, my thoughts, just because I'm someone that is informed. And I really try not to be a cheerleader. Obviously, I go to Georgia, right? I go to Georgia. I love the Georgia Bulldogs. My job, I have to separate that here a little bit, right? So I'm not trying to be a cheerleader for Stetson. I'm really in the business of telling the truth and how I see it. And what I see is, because he's not really a kid. Let's be real. He's 25, right? What I see is a young man that has really elevated his game as a football player on and off the field. And what I see is a program that loves him, players that love him. There's a few reasons why he was the starter quarterback last year instead of JT Daniels. And one of them was how much the team rallies behind Stetson Bennett. They love him. He is a Georgia Bulldog. You've seen the clip probably of him when he was a little kid talking about how he won, how one day he was going to play quarterback and win national championship at Georgia. The dude did it. How many people can say that they said their dream as a child and then just went out and did it? I mean, and he didn't just go out and did it. It took a lot of work. But hey, if you're a 5-star quarterback and you're interested in going to Georgia, Stetson Bennett just is a Heisman finalist. I bet you think you're better than Stetson Bennett, all you 5 stars, if you are watching this. Bet you think you're better than Stetson Bennett, and you might be. I would be my recruiting pitch if I was Kirby Smart and Todd Monken and company, right? People think that this situation, the last few years with Fromm and Fields and then Stetson and JT, the assumption has been, why would a 5-star quarterback? I don't blame a 5-star quarterback not wanting to go to Georgia, but I don't get that. It shouldn't matter at all at the end of the day. If anything, this should make you want to come to Georgia more, because if you think that you're that much more talented than Stetson Bennett, then why don't you go do it? Go beat him out, or go beat out whoever's in the quarterback room. And, the other argument, I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but it's all the central point of, this is a video where I'm giving Stetson his flowers. I'm giving him his props. People made these arguments, his team's so loaded, that's why Stetson plays well. The defense is loaded. Is this weaponry that loaded? I think that the depth of different types of weapon is, but I mean, I don't think a lot of people would consider Ladd McConkey. The general consensus on Ladd McConkey is probably not that he's his bona fide number 1 receiver. Well, that was his number 1 receiver this year. Brock Bowers, obviously. They got weapons, right? They got a good offensive line. They got weapons. But it's not like he's throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka or Keishawn Butte or Jalen Hyatt, the Biletnikoff. He's not throwing to Biletnikoff winners. He's got the Mackey Award winner and the best tight end. He's got probably the best offensive line. He does have help. But why is he being penalized for that? Okay, if he was playing poorly, then it would be a bigger conversation, in my opinion. I don't really understand. People want to hate just to hate, and that's fine. I didn't believe in Stetson at first. I came on here and told you guys, up until the Auburn game last year in 2021, I was like, well, I think it's JT still. I think it's still going to be JT. I said it on the freaking documentary I was on. Remember that, Year of the Dog? That's what they asked me mostly about the quarterbacks when we did this interview. And I was honest. I was like, well, in the back of everyone's head, people were saying, when's JT going to come back? And for a while, I thought he should. And then I saw the elevation of Stetson's game. It was the Auburn game that kind of turned me. I didn't always believe in Stetson. I criticized him after Alabama. So it's every player deserves criticism and praise for different things. And he embodies the Georgia Bulldogs. There's a standard. I'm going to do another video about this week, more so about, I've got an article on the site, and I'm going to make a video about that, about Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington and buying into the Georgia standard. But Stetson Bennett is the Georgia standard. I don't want to hear otherwise. Thanks for watching. Links down below.